Welcome to Slammed, a Boston Celtics podcast brought to you by Odyssey. I'm Meghan Ottolini of WEEI, and today I'm joined by a very special guest, my good friend, Rob Bradford. He's the host of the massive baseball podcast, Baseball Isn't Boring. He's also a longtime Red Sox insider for weei.com. And you may be wondering, why do we have this baseball guy on a Hoops podcast? Well, it's because, Rob Bradford, you had this tweet over the weekend just related to an ongoing rumor that's been swirling around ever since the Grosbecks announced the sale of their large stake in the Celtics, which is that Fenway Sports Group is not involved in a Celtics sale as far as we're concerned right now. Just a little background on this whole thing. Fenway Sports Group was kind of an obvious rumor or destination to bring up as soon as the sale was announced because of their local connection, obviously Fenway, to the Red Sox, but also because some of their key investors, as recently as December of 2023, had put out there that they're very interested in investing in an NBA expansion team, specifically in Las Vegas. That was well before, as far as we know, anyone publicly knew that the Celtics were going to be for sale as soon as this year. So for joining me. First off, I just want to start with what you're hearing, what you tweeted over the weekend about Fenway Sports Group not being involved in a Celtics sale as far as you know right now.
First of all, Mego, yay basketball. Yay for basketball.
Yay!
Yay for basketball. I actually miss covering basketball. But that's when there was like actually access to the players where you could actually just walk up to them and talk to them. But I miss Kenny Anderson. That's how old I am.
Okay.
So anyway, so it was told to me by someone very high up on the food chain, very matter of factly, that as currently it stands, Fenway Sports Group has shown no interest in purchasing the Boston Celtics and has not reached out regarding potentially dipping their toe in that water. So that is it was very cut and dry. Now, the caveat to that is that who knows, like 3-4 months down the road, who knows? But right now, as we sit here, it is not. And I think Sam Kennedy was asked about it at the Red Sox breakup press conference, and he wasn't really definitive, but I think he said something that's not on our radar or whatever it is. But like I said, I mean, this was, I asked this as directly as I could. I got as direct answer as I could from the person I talked to. And so that's where it stands. And the other little, I guess, part of it, which is sort of interesting, is that it is their impression or the impression of the people who know what's going on. And I don't think this is any news because I think this has come out a little bit, is that this is going to be a longer process than a lot of people thought. So
what do you mean by that?
When we talk about this, when there's some reports that come out about it, this is what's happening, right? Here are the bidders, right? I don't think they're at that level. Like, it sure seems like they're sort of taking their time with it. And the fact that you can look at the Fenway Sports Group thing in two ways. Is, well, they're taking their time, so there's no rush for, if the Fenway Sports Group was ever interested in getting involved, then they don't need to rush about this, or this the Fenway Sports Group is never ever, they just have no interest. Which, I think that it is telling that the fact is, if you believe the person who I talked to, then they say, hey, this isn't a priority. If you have interest in buying a team, I think you are at least sort of exploring the waters more than it's insinuating that they're exploring the waters right now. But anyway, to go back to what I said, I think that it sure seems like they're in no rush to do this. I think I saw an article, and I forget.
At the risk of split.
Yeah, go ahead. Go ahead. Well,
Oh, at the risk of splitting hairs, I did see, I know there's been on our own radio station that we appear on, there's been a little bit about the difference between if Sam Kennedy would be involved in this versus Fenway Sports Group. Sam Kennedy is high up in Fenway Sports Group. Like, do you see any possibility of Sam Kennedy going rogue
that part
or
of it,
operating separately?
Like, this is to be reaching at straws, right? I mean, like, what is it? Sam Kennedy LLC is going to buy the Celtics?
Who knows? I'm just asking because there's all these different things out there.
I don't think Sam Kennedy is panhandling down in Kenmore Square. I think he has a lot of money. I think, in his current lot in life, in his current state, with his position with the Red Sox, I think he's probably doing pretty well, probably even better than he's had in previous years. But I don't think, no. And so to answer your question, I'm thinking through, like, how is this even possible? But I can tell you this is that Fenway Sports Group, Sam Kennedy, whatever, as currently constituted right now as we sit here, neither entity has shown interest in purchasing the Boston Celtics or gone down the road of exploring it as we sit here right now.
Okay. The next part I want to talk to you about is just the price around the Celtics and whether you see that as the hurdle for Fenway Sports Group. Fenway Sports Group's portfolio is extended. They have their tentacles, if you want to look at them that way, and all these different things. They have Liverpool, they have the Penguins. They're looking into golf and all this stuff. And a lot of people are looking at the price tag that the NBA and owners around the NBA want to see the Celtics go for, which is the ballpark of $6 billion. It's this crazy price tag. Do you think that that's something that Fenway Sports Group would have an appetite for? I'm talking hypothetically. I know you say that they're not involved right now, but is that something that they could even take on as far as with their financials?
Yeah, I think they could take it on, but obviously you need to get other people involved. I mean, and again, okay, let's play the Sam Kennedy game again, All right, exactly what you said. It's just, this is a big, big deal. It's not a nude flash. It's science. Buying an NBA team, particularly Boston Celtics, is going to cost a lot of money. And it's going to take a lot of investors, even within an organization, a Fenway Sports Group being that example. Now, some of the other names that are being thrown around, maybe you don't have to go search out other investors, i.e. Jeff Bezos or someone like that. He has money. He can do these sort of things. But you're right. It's a good point, because this isn't just buying a team. This isn't buying, I don't know, whatever team. But this is buying a very, very valuable, it's going to be even more valuable. I don't know, like you might know more about, the arena possibilities or whatever it is. But it's, yeah.
I'll tell you, they're talking, Rob, about putting an arena. I know one of the rumors that's out there, I believe it came from my former co-host, Christian Arcan. He's talking about putting one down by Dorchester near where I live. I'm like, I don't want that. As we say in the NBA, I don't want that smoke. I don't want that development.
You're so selfish. You're so selfish, Meghan.
I am. I'm sorry. I can't take like 7 Tates and spin factories in my neighborhood. Like, I've moved to this area to not be in the Seaport. I don't want Seaport 2.0 over here.
I mean, all those poor people who used to shop at the Stop and Shop down off of Guest Street, and now they have to mingle among the everyone flocking to the practice arenas and the music halls and all that. Yes, that's what happened.
Practice arena is fine. Arena for games, like TD Garden Jr. or Jeff Bezos, the Amazon home of the Celtics. Welcome to the jungle. Like, I'm not about that. But we're getting off on a tangent.
Well, no, but I don't think it's gonna. I knowing living through, we've all seen in Boston how this works. like the mock-ups of the football stadium down on the
The
water
soccer stadium.
off the soccer stadium, right? Do we think any of this is going to happen, especially when you're having an entity like the T Garden where I get it, they're not, they want to own it, but it's a perfectly viable thing. It's okay, like it's all right. It's not decrepit.
Yeah, I think it's just the idea of real estate in Boston. It's just it's too I would imagine I'm not a business person, I didn't go to business school, but it's way too spicy of an idea to be able to buy
Yes,
a
well
team
put.
like the Celtics. It is in some ways when you look at the way that other sports franchises around the country are. The Celtics are one of the most storied franchises in professional sports overall, and that they don't have their own arena. I can understand why a buyer would come in, and that would be probably after figuring out what you're doing with the second apron and the salaries. Then that's the next thing that you look
Well,
at.
okay, let's talk a little bit about that dynamic of it too. Is because when when this subject's brought up about Fenway Sports Group or whatever it is, anything related to the Red Sox buying the Celtics, that you probably have put up a poll on social media saying who likes this, and it's probably like 90-10 people hate it because
Yeah.
right now their brand has absolutely been hotter. Usually I say brand has never been hotter. The brand has absolutely been hotter than what the Red Sox, and the perception of that ownership group isn't anywhere near what it was before. Now it's you've diverted too many different places. You're not spending money at the one organization in Boston that you own. It's going to be like that, and it's not going to be like this glorious thing that's happening right now, which is Wick Grousbeck basically saying, "Hey, who wants some money? Let's sign all these guys to contracts. Let's make the super team." Like, and because we've seen what we're going through with the Boston Red Sox right now with this ownership group is the exact opposite of that. That's why everybody's screaming and yelling, saying, we don't want to do this.
Yeah, and I do wonder, okay, so just when you look at the salaries that they're paying out, and I wanna focus primarily on the 2 guys that you think are gonna be here, hopefully long term, which are the Jays, and they have these super max salaries that they're gonna come into with Jaylen Brown this season and Jason Tatum next season, and then it really balloons. Do you think that Fenway Sports Group, John Henry, whatever, whoever's assigned to looking over the bottom line of the Celtics, can they stomach that kind of salary when we've seen them, for better or worse, kind of nickel and dime the Red Sox over the last several years, basically since their last run at the World Series in 2019?
Yeah. And I mean, listen, put it this way, the Celtics press conference, there was no mention of how excited they were. They just hired a new biomechanist.
Did
Mechanist.
that happen? Did that
Yeah.
happen
Oh,
with the
oh
Red
yeah,
Sox?
yeah.
Oh god.
I found out the guy's name too. I should mention him. It's hey, listen, and that's all part of it. I understand that, but the problem is because you want to build, and there's not one way to build. I think that the problem with what the ownership group has gone down, without getting too in the weeds with the baseball stuff, is that they've been always chasing their tail about how they feel like things are going. Whether it's going back to the Cuban baseball players or Hanley Ramirez or David Price. And now it's the Tampa Bay Rays. Look at the Tampa Bay Rays do it. Well, it's not the same. It's not the same. And so the problem is that you do not want an ownership group for the Boston Celtics coming in and saying, you know what? We only have 30. It's a 30-1 shot that we can win a championship. So why bother? Which, can you imagine, Mego, a
No.
Celtics owner doing that?
Well,
Like,
it's funny because and we sit here in Boston looking at the Patriots going through a rebuild. Who knows what's happening with the Bruins with Jeremy Swayman's contract? Speaking of the people who actually own TD Garden, and the thing with the Celtics is Celtics fans have been so spoiled. Where yes, okay, they only have the 2 championships and since the 80s, but beyond that, the lean years that they went through with this ownership group were really when Brad Stevens had the cute little team, as our friend Glenn Ordway liked to call them, and that was still fun. Like, that still felt functional. There was one season of basically nobodies, but and Marcus Smart, but there was a real feeling about building towards something and something to believe in. And so I think that's part of why Celtics fans, beyond all the other stuff with the Red Sox and the payroll that they have decided to stick to over the last several seasons, is that they feel like the ownership group that's been in place over the last couple of decades has been operating with such good faith towards the fan base.
Yeah.
Like I truly think that they feel that way, that they always have the Celtics with the best ideas in mind.
It's a good point because I think I was on your show when this came up and you guys asked me about it. And my just like guttural initial reaction was, well, I don't think that this Red Sox ownership group, John Henry particularly, wants to deal with another Boston fan base entity, right?
Right.
He doesn't seem that thrilled with it right now. Like it doesn't seem thrilled with the pushback of what he's doing. So like, why would you do this when you can go to another market, buy another team, and not basically being lumped in with this group of people who you're already fending off at the gate? Like that was my initial reaction. Like I don't think that I know it's Fenway Sports Group, but I don't think they have any desire to have another thing in Boston. I don't. I mean, maybe I'm totally wrong about
they
that.
want to run away from us crazy.
Yeah, but I don't know if you know this. Liverpool is not near Boston, right? It's we could go with Pittsburgh. The Pittsburgh is not near Boston, so they know the slings and arrows that are going to come their way if they do buy this franchise, and you can't just say, hey, we're all in it, because you can't say that because just down the street you aren't all in it. So
yeah, it would be really interesting if they bought the Celtics team and just went gangbusters over the next, I don't know, 5 years, and people that had the appearance. I know it doesn't totally work this way, but Boston fans kind of had to choose between their Red Sox and their Celtics because it would appear that they were siphoning off the Red Sox payroll to supplement the Celtics. It'd be kind of like I don't know, the just like Sophie's Choice or
Oh
something
yeah,
between
it
your
would be
teams.
great. I mean, listen, it'd be great for talking and business and the Slam podcast and everything else. It'd be great. But the problem is that we focus on the Red Sox as how they've operated with the Red Sox recently. I'm not talking about for the first 15 years because that was different. But recently, it lines up with how they're also approaching Pittsburgh, Liverpool. It's not all that different. And for the Celtics fans, that would be the problem. We're talking this way, and I come back to it. I stand by what I said at the outset, which is the person told me definitively right now, as
Right.
we sit here, they have no interest in getting involved in this. Again, caveat, 4 months, 5 months down the road, it's just like anything. Oh yeah, the house dropped, the price dropped. Sure, well yeah, we'll get in it, maybe. But still, but we can dare to dream, and I think that's what makes this so much fun, and that's why honestly we're doing this podcast, because
Right.
it is so interesting. Like that dynamic is so interesting.
Rob, I'll ask you, and you don't have to tell me this, but it sounds like you really trust your source. And so, was there anything in the context of that conversation about who they gleaned might be in the bidding process? Was there anything about, hearing that other parties were at least looking around, sniffing around, casing the joint of the Celtics deciding to get in? Or was it just kind of a cut and dry, like, not for us, at least right now?
No, well, so no definitive names other than, talked about Courtney Cox's report about the three potential bidders
So you
saying,
asked about that specifically
yeah,
that was a report that she made a couple months ago on the Greg Hill show, and then she said that she feels pretty strongly about it, I believe on October 1st, just this morning show.
yeah, yeah. So the others were Steve Wynn, right, and Bezos. So it wasn't like when that came up, it wasn't like they said, "Oh no, Bezos and Wynn." No, absolutely not.
Okay.
No. It was it was the two things. It was really like, no, Fenway Sports Group, and if you want to lump Sam Kennedy in there, fine. But that thing, no. Right now, no. And the other thing is that this is going to take a long time. They are so at the early stages of this process. So, I'll say this is that I'll come back to it. I hope things change. I do. Because
in terms of you want them involved.
I don't necessarily want them owning it.
You want the narrative of the involvement.
I want the narrative. I wanted the narrative. And hey, listen, is another thing the person told me was like that. Hey, listen, that who knows down there? Like, who knows? But what we're talking about is the here and the now. The now.
Okay. So to sum up the here and the now from what you're hearing is that it's no. It's a no for them, dog. It's a no based on so many different possible reasons. But if there's going to be an arena down the block from me in Dorchester, it's not going to be thanks to John Henry, Sam Kennedy, or anyone to your knowledge of Fenway Sports Group as we sit here today in the beginning of October.
No. And once again, I think that if there was really, really like this, we got to do this sort of vibes from them, I wouldn't be getting that message.
Okay.
I think I'm just connecting the dots, but that sure seems how it feels. And by the way, I don't think that of all the ownership groups that are being thrown out there, the one that you should hope actually gets it is Fenway Sports Group, because I think they're the least likely to build something on your doorstep.
You're talking about me personally, not the Celtics.
I'm just looking out for you.
Okay.
And that's it.
I know. Well, Fenway Sports Group is trying to get together Fenway Corners right now.
Oh, the Corners. Yeah.
So they've already got their hands tied in a bunch of real estate.
Fenway Corners, all I can think of is like it's going to be like a one big Cracker Barrel with rocking chairs and corn cob pipes.
And like they'll have the penny candy on the side where you can go and fill a little baggie up.
They'll hire some kid to play the banjo from Deliverance. So yeah, the whole thing.
I was thinking more of like a Vermont vibe, but we can take it that direction.
See, that's the difference between us. You think foliage, I think Deliverance. So
okay. All right. I think that's where we drop it. Well, thank you so much, Rob. Hey, Baseball Isn't Boring is the podcast. Where else can we find all of your incredible baseball content?
Nowhere.
Absolutely nowhere.
No. I don't know. weei.com. weei.com. Baseball's boring, but now we are pushing. I'm putting the Red Sox in the rearview mirror, and now I have to drive to places like your hometown of Baltimore.
Well, I'm actually to be fair, I'm a little bit more of a DC girl, but the Nats were not there when I was growing up, so I am an Orioles fan.
All right.
So, well, I'll call Camden my hometown ballpark. I'll say that.
You and me both. I'm contractually obligated because I get married there. But all good. I appreciate it, Mego. You're awesome. Your podcast is awesome. It's gonna be awesome. It's gonna be, and here's the only plug that I'll give.
Okay.
I have been, I don't want to say assured, but insinuated that a member of the Celtics is coming on the Baseball Isn't Boring podcast within the next month.
Initials, or at least one of his initials, a D?
A D?
Yeah. Is this somebody who held up a Baseball Isn't Boring t-shirt at some point?
Derek White.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, listen.
All right.
It's like talk about an enormous miss for the Red Sox. I'm going to blame their failures on this one thing, which is Derek White. They showed on the Jumbotron right before one of the most momentous comebacks that they had. I mean, it was, and he's holding up the trophy. Sure, he was wearing the Baseball Isn't Boring shirt, but still, they should have played that like the Rally Monkey, the Gino, whatever it is. They should have played this every single game.
That's made for the Jumbotron. That's made for it. Get it going. Yes. I agree. Maybe next season. Season. We'll see. Right. Well, he's Rob Bradford of Baseball Isn't Boring, Odyssey, and weei.com. So check out his stuff. And as always, if you enjoyed this episode, please follow, like, and subscribe. Slammed, your Boston Celtics podcast, brought to you by Odyssey.